This conference will now be recorded.
So let me make you presenter.
All right. So the one, okay, let me share. So I will give you guys an overview, and then I will talk about because one of the things that hit us on this Corona, uh, we have our some of our Korea teams got shut down, so the presentation is didn't get fully blessed. So I have to share the public version, what we have in our material. But I will talk about what are the goals and what we are trying to do in the memory division. So feel free to ask me questions. Okay, share. Can you guys see what I'm sharing?
Yep.
Okay, let me put this in a. Sometimes we have a problem with the GoToMeeting. Sorry. Okay, so again, this is El Cristoballi from Samsung. We have several divisions in Samsung, but I'm coming from the Samsung Semiconductors, and specifically on I'm in the memory division. As you can imagine, Samsung has different companies, and hold on just a second, I gotta get rid of this. No, sorry. So we what we call is Samsung Device Solutions, very specific focus on the memory components that includes NAND, flash, SSDs, DRAM, HBMs, and I think in the, as you guys all know, it's we have we've been doing chiplets on essentially on the HBM for a while, and what we are focusing on right now and the other components that will go into in the long term in our ASICs. ASICs go into our SSDs and other components. So just to give you an idea, oops. Are you guys seeing the problem? It's kicking me out constantly. Are you guys having the same problem?
So the problem might be full screen. Are you on a Mac or a PC?
I'm in the PC.
Then sometimes full screen mode doesn't work when you're presenting.
Oh, it's not. Okay, all right. I'll get out of the full screen. Yeah, we do have a problem with our Samsung um, with the GoToMeeting. Yeah, I know for sure. Okay, so where we sit is obviously I work in the device solutions in America, and I'm only representing the device solutions America. We have device solutions Europe, device solutions China, and we are a large group, and each of these groups may represent different views. Just so you know, in the future you may get a request. But I know from the past we held the ODSA meeting at Samsung under the Foundry team. We're just starting to get engaged from the memory division. And the main, like I said, main goal is I'm looking at the 2 to 5 years out. What are the things that we need to intercept in our silicon? Do you guys have any questions? Okay. So some of the foundry, obviously we work with the foundry elements from our perspective, but in a high level with the memory division as well, we look at the design aspects, manufacturing, and packaging and testing. What impacts our memory is obvious from this specific discussion is going the high level. We're looking at the two aspects. One is the design, what IP IP capabilities we need to have from the chiplets, and also the packaging. So currently, as you know, we use the interposers, silicon interposers, or HBM, and going forward, we're looking at different technologies, and this is one of my topic is, okay, what is the IPs that we need to acquire, and we'll collaborate with the ODSA to make it a standards-based solutions. That's so we can interface with the different IP blocks. And the packaging is critical. Packaging goes into different market segments, how we address the mobile, automotive, data centers, and enterprise. And I would say also edge and telecom. And all of those have different requirements that impact the design as well as packaging. This is essentially looking at the different market segments. So as a company on the ASIC, we provide the solutions for across the board solutions for the take it from computer vision. We have AI and ML ASICs, as well as things like video encoding ASICs in our memory and system outside division. All right. You guys, please stop me if you guys have any questions. All right. So how much time I have, Bapi? So I have one more slide. We're talking about the. So what I like to, yeah, go ahead.
No, you can take you got plenty of time. I mean, we're
yeah.
you know,
Okay.
in terms of your.
So from the presentation wise, that's all I have. But what I like to talk about is one of the things that we start looking at the interface. Interface in terms of the protocol wise between the different silicon and what is going to be required in 2 to 5 years out. Whether we want to use a bunch of wires, depending on the different vendors, and also looking at the SerDes. So just to give you an idea, there's the convergence is happening as we are focused, even though we are focused on SSDs and NAND flash in our division. We are seeing a lot of convergence on networking. Networking and storage is converging, and also GPUs and storage converging, as well as the AI and ML. So that brings up complexity in terms of different bringing different silicons together. Even FPGA, I forgot. I should mention also the FPGAs. Even we announced products that are working with the FPGAs. So that brings interoperabilities as well as the packaging challenges. But the goal is from my management and our team trying to figure out what can we do on the protocols and interfaces as standards as we can get, and going forward, what are the packaging solutions, varying packaging solutions that we can address different verticals. So we are in very early stages. Even though we made, as a Samsung, we made significant advances in the HBM area. We have a lot of learnings from the HBM. We are on the 3rd generation now, so we totally understand the interposer, silicon interposer packaging wise, as well as the interfaces. But I think the challenge is going to be from what we are looking from ODSA is how much standardization we can get to between the protocols and the interfaces.
Hey, Ilko?
Yes, Tawfiq.
I have a question. So, for HBM, is it today? I believe is restricted to a silicon interposer kind of regime, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is it?
Yep. Go ahead.
I was wondering if you guys have any work around exploring it in, maybe some of those new packaging, fan outs, redistribution, whatever that is a little bit cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Well, so as you know, the HBM specification right now, it's come from the JEDEC, right? In terms of the speeds and feeds, right?
Yeah.
So right now, as far as I know, no. But it certainly would like to get some feedback as we work with you guys from the HBM perspective. If you look at the four different types of, I wouldn't call it under HBM. I think the HBM has a track in the industry, and as from the JEDEC, JEDEC sets the requirements and specifications, right? And then each company builds their own solution. But if we are looking for HBM-like device, right? But you're looking for a lower cost solution, we need to understand what that means. Obviously, some of the learnings we can use, but I wouldn't call it a HBM. Does that make sense?
Hey guys, this is Elko from ASE. If I could chime in for a minute on that. So you're right in that most of the HBM, or I think all the HBM SoC integrations that are in production today are probably heavily leveraging silicon interposers. And the reason is, as Ilker indicated, you've got this micro bump interface, 45, 55 micron micro bump pitches. So you need the high density routing that an interposer provides with, less than half micron line in space. However, for the fan out side, at ASC, we already internally have in qualification HBM SoC integration with two HBMs using fan out, where we're using 2 micron line in space RDL layers, and that eliminates the silicon interposer. So there's been some optimization in the way we do our designs, but with the way we do the vias combined with the 2 micron line in space, we are able to route HBM using fan out.
And who is speaking, if I may ask?
This is Elko from ASE.
Okay. I wonder if, Bapi, we could have some, presentation about that, because, like the cost straight up, and that's, that's a cool thing. At least from my perspective.
Taufik, your wish is Elko's Elko's to grant. I think he's up next week.
Yeah, so I'm scheduled to speak next week. It was going to be to talk more about, what can we do as the Bow interface develops and other interfaces develop, to talk about enabling design libraries for the substrate side. But I can include just a quick update on fan out as well, if time allows, Bapi.
Absolutely, Elko.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for.
Okay, so is there any other questions? Tawfiq, did you?
Yeah, Elko, can you comment on what? So I'm assuming you guys are going to see chiplets from 3 angles. You're going to make chiplets. You're going to use chiplets.
Yeah,
Can you
I
comment
think.
on what kinds of things you?
Yeah, what things like we are looking at. I think
Yeah.
like I said, I think in general, as we see in data centers mostly, right, and also in a consumer space, there's a convergence happening between the storage, I would say memory networking, and AI. Think about that way, right? So if you're seeing in the future these components and Lego blocks, you need to be utilized for different market segments. You will see these different silicon interfaces need to be in the standardized. Especially take an example, you wanted to do some data analytics in the long term in storage with a large, the database or blob storage. Now we're looking at whether using an AI engine or GPU engine even, right? And now you're bringing those IP blocks or silicon closer to the memory where you need to connect these two elements. So that's one example. In the automotive industry, it's more interesting. With some of these public, like looking at the FPGA introduction, FPGA bring into the memory. Now you have 50 terabytes of dynamic data processing with the FPGA and the cars, autonomous cars, where you need to bring for different vendors, different verticals. You may want to bring different FPGA providers along with the different memory vendors. And now, what is the interface is going to look like? Where the interface, whether I've seen the HBI proposal. Obviously, Intel has its own Altera proposal. Just as an example, how we can, for memory vendors like us, how we can make these more closer to the standard that we can serve the end users. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And same thing with the networking too. So then, networking convergence happening, networking and storage. I would say, in networking specifically, coming to the I would say two major with the AWS Annapurna and Microsoft topic comment more couple. It's networking convergence happening in the data centers. It's getting closer to the memory. That's it. That will bring these IPs and being able to interface two chip solutions or even three chip solutions. It's going to be really critical. And I think the difficulty is being able to give flexibility to end user to pick and choose their favorite, their favorite vendor as well as what their workload requires. Depend and work with the different vendors, so they can pick whether it's a memory or other IPs, but work in a standard interface.
Okay. Now then, the last question I have is, we've talked to the foundry guys, Craig and you. Do you think there's any other group at Samsung we should be engaging with? And then how do you get Korea more involved, you think?
So okay, that's a good question. So it's obviously, like I said, foundry is a different BU, and then memory as us. We have also System LSI, which System LSI is focused on a few areas. They do SoCs for our mobile chips, also AI and GPUs. And they're certainly, right now, I believe their inputs coming through me, some of them going through the Craig. Craig is the main contact for foundry, as you know. So getting in, so those are the three I would imagine getting involved. The one, we have another company called Samsung Mobile. I think that will be interesting to bring them in as a separate group. I can connect you with the right people there. They have shown interest, but they are totally different company from us. So they need to bring their own views for this. When you're saying getting Korea involved in, can you, even Samsung Korea, in what regards? I mean, what aspects are you
Oh,
asking?
when I spoke with Craig a few months ago, I mean it's been a few months since I spoke with Craig. There's basically a bunch of expert engineers in Korea who seem to have
Mhm.
opinions on chiplets and interfaces and things like that. And there doesn't seem to be any easy, given the time difference, there just doesn't seem to be any easy way of like engaging with them, getting their feedback, or
Mhm.
well, let's say in the future we're looking at test chips and all these other interesting things. So it was just a more generic question around, how do you? I'm assuming there's a huge engineering resource in Korea, and how do you sort of get them engaged in this?
Yeah, so we have some of those are in. I mean, so we have the obviously I'm representing the planning, but we have
Right.
Samsung R&D team in San Jose office that constantly in sync with the Korea Samsung Korea teams. So if you
Okay.
have what you're thinking is a specific topic, I can certainly bring those experts.
Oh,
Whether it's
perfect.
a HBM topic, um, you know, like I said, there's several areas, right? I can bring the right people
Perfect. Because
for
I
this
think
one. Assuming
not just,
assuming we can get a clearance. I mean, just be clear.
yeah,
This is a
yeah,
very open forum. That's why I'm coming from the product planning. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there are a few areas, right? The Bow interface is one.
Hmm.
The POCs and test chips are a second area where some collaboration would definitely be useful. So
Okay.
great. If you're a point of contact, that works perfectly.
Yeah. I can we can identify the areas like I said, BAW interface, which I know a couple people are looking at the BAW interface, and actually in general we are looking at the interfaces.
Yeah, and then
So I
the
can
Open
bring the right
HPI.
people. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
Uh, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? That's all. Yep. Thanks.
Um, okay. Um,
Hey,
anything else,
Boppy.
Craig?
Yeah, this is Sean Harvey. Was curious if there's time in April or when the next available. I'd like to have our team or Supermicro be able to present and start to get a little bit more involved here. So just
Great.
wanted to throw that out there. There's opportunity down in the coming weeks that I could help get organized and be able to share some similar information as Ilko did.
How about April 3rd? Because I was just going to say, anybody new, if you'd like to bring your company, we'd love to hear from you. So April 3rd?
Yes, that sounds great. Let's
All right.
I'll pencil this in and I'll get working on it.
Fantastic.
All right, I gotta jump off for another call, but thank you guys. I wish everybody health and safety.
Thanks, Sean. I was going to say, Sean basically articulated what I was thinking was any other new joins, new companies would like to introduce themselves to this group. Uh, I'm happy to pencil you in for a 30-minute slot on a Friday. Ilker's presentation has been pretty useful. Thank you.
Oh,
So
you're
Dan,
welcome.
if offline, if you want to think about Social Next or coming in on the 10th or the 17th.
Yeah, I'll discuss with B. Maybe at some time we might do that.
Yeah, especially since we don't need to do our taxes anymore.
Still need to do your taxes. I think you just don't have to pay them so soon.
Yeah, so you have 3 extra months or something.
They still want your money.
Yeah, they
So
still
you
want
have
the
to
money.
work a little bit harder to make the money to pay them. They give you 3 more months to work and make more money and pay them at that time.
Holding out, maybe you'll get some bonus deduction.
Yeah. So anyway, if anybody else wants to, I'll chase you guys down offline as well. But if anybody else wants to present, please. Okay, let me go over opens. I've got one open. Unfortunately, I only see Mark online. Wait, did we just lose him? We just lost Mark. So okay, that takes care of my open. It's not going to be very useful. I wanted to. Hey, I'm going to share my screen, Ilker. So I'm going to fill in this a spreadsheet with all our active subprojects and when they meet and hang it off the main ODSA wiki so that any new joins have some sense of how they can participate in the different work streams and who they need to reach out to. So JP has filled it in, and I was going to ask Mark, but we just lost Mark. So anybody else have? Okay, so opens wise, let me go around the horn. Let me go around the horn and let's see. Dan or David, any opens? Okay, DJ, any thoughts? Opens?
No, I'm good, Bapi.
Okay, Elko?
No, nothing here. Thanks, Poppy.
JP?
Bobby, thank you. So
Kevin Reza?
Nothing
I'm
here.
good, thank you.
Rita Scott?
So I have a question about May. Are we still on track to have our online conference?
Yes. DJ, we are, right?
Yes, I can comment on that. So OCP should be sending out emails sometime this week. The conferences are still on, and speakers will be expected to do their recording using the tool which OCP has selected. And tool has an option where either you can record yourself, a video of yourself, or only the slides if you like, because that would be the case in many situations, in which case only the slides will be projected with your voice being recorded. So that makes it easy for people to kind of record in any kind of situation. Sorry, I'm
Oh, hang on, JP. Let me, yeah.
oh, sorry.
No worries.
Yeah.
All right, keep going, DJ.
Yeah. So I think those. Basically the conference is still on, and originally the plan was to set up a studio where people could go to record themselves. But obviously with California lockdown, that plan has to change. So now everybody will be recording this at home, and in basically in their living rooms or in their office areas. That's pretty much how we are thinking.
And Rita, there's one thing, you prompted a good trigger. I was going to say, we have a bunch of documents in flight, and we think that all of these should reach some shareable stage. I think for the bow, Mark is back on. So I'm thinking 0.8 spec is what we're aiming for. For a pipe, it's I'd say 0.5. Actually, it's better than 0.5. I'm just making up numbers, but and then we have a new LPIF spec, which is on a 0.5. And JP, I think we should be able to have position to release POC documentation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do the POC. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of documentation around the POC that we should be able to release, the POC hardware. So I think if there's any big announcements we can do around DJ, that's a hint to you, around new groups. The May would be a wonderful time to pull that off, or new test chips, etc.
Right, right. Yeah, I think we will be making some announcements at that point, Bapi.
Okay, so we have these following specs. Am I missing anything? And Jawad isn't here. On the business side, we're not. POC software. Yeah, these are the specs in flight. I can't think of any other specs we have in flight right now. Open HPI, right? I have to talk to Kenneth and figure out where we're at on that. The Open HPI, we'll have some version releasable by May. So those are the milestones we're aiming for, Rita.
Thank you.
Scott?
No opens for me.
Okay. Tawfiq?
And no opens.
All right. And let's see. That's Mark. Anything on your mind? Okay, Bill Chan.
I just have a following question following from Rita's question. So do we still prepare this 5 minutes that we previously had in the OCP? Is that what I just want to confirm to make sure that whether we need to prepare that or not? 5 minutes.
I think so. Because we'll be doing it twice. We'll be doing a larger talk in our group, but I think the 5-minute talks are useful because unless I believe the distribution we get from the virtual conference will be far higher than the distribution we get from our weekly meetings. These are for sort of for the faithful, but that one, I think that's a good way to introduce what we're doing to a much wider audience.
Great. And Rita, you will be doing the panel as that previously planned. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you. I just need this confirmation. Thank you.
Yeah.
No problem.
Rita, in fact, Rita will have Anand from Samsung, Ilkar's colleague.
That's right.
Yep.
Hey, Mark, if you might be on mute, but if you get a chance, please take a look at this and fill in the spreadsheet. Okay. If there are no more opens, did I miss anybody? Anybody want to say anything?
Yeah, Bapi, I do want to say something not related to ODSA.
Yes, sir. Fire away.
Yeah, so I, just got a message that, and this is related to the COVID-19 situation, and I know there are a couple of semiconductor companies on the call here, and a friend of mine, his wife works in Kaiser, and apparently they have a severe shortage of masks in Kaiser. So I don't know if there are, masks available from semiconductor companies which can be contributed. So I just wanted to give that shout out here because we can all use this opportunity to see how we can help, the community. So I heard Samsung earlier. So I'm just kind of curious, if something like this, is there any way ODSA group can help? So maybe we can talk for 5 minutes here and then wind up the call.
Sure. I will put it in the minutes. And I know more people read the minutes than attend the calls. So we should hopefully have a wider distribution.
Yeah. So that's all I wanted to kind of get it captured here.
Okay. Sounds great. Yeah, that's it. Okay, then in that case, everyone, you get 20 minutes of your life back. Ilker, thanks a bunch for presenting. And if you wouldn't mind sending me the slides, that'd be great.
All right.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.